So, welcome everybody to the September 24th, 2023 Portland IONS meeting. Just a real quick about our IONS group. We are loosely affiliated with the Institute of Noetic Sciences. The mission of the Institute of Noetic Sciences is to reveal the interconnected nature of reality through scientific exploration and personal discovery, creating a more compassionate, thriving, and sustainable world. IONS was started by Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who was an Apollo 14 astronaut, and he had a very profound experience when he was in space. And when he came back in 1973, he started the Institute of Noetic Sciences, which today now has the world's largest team of multidisciplinary scientists conducting research on frontier topics in consciousness and its impact on our lives. And so today, I'm just so excited to have Monica Dunn with us. Monica, wave at everybody. So Monica does QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique. And that was originally started by the pioneering Dolores Cannon. So over 45 years, Dolores Cannon was a hypnosis practitioner, and she helped people to get to a much deeper state of consciousness when they were under hypnosis. And luckily for us, she taught it to a lot of people. And so here we have Monica. Monica is a level 3 practitioner of QHHT. She kind of began her journey into consciousness like in her 20s and did vibrational healing, shamanism, Buddhism. This is kind of a culmination of all of those things. And she's been practicing since 2015 and has conducted over 500 sessions. So that's as much as I'm going to say. I'm going to turn it over to Monica now. We're going to turn it on to speaker view here. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And thank you all for being here today. It's just a joy to share about the wonders of QHHT. It's really, truly a phenomenal method of transformation and healing and getting to know oneself better and like the truth of who we truly are. Because unlike most forms of hypnosis, I will say, in this method, what Dolores found, and it was sort of by accident, she was just given the progression of how it would turn into QHHT. And so over time, she would just get the most bizarre experiences, and then she would learn about them, and then she would have more clients who would have these bizarre experiences. And when she first started with her husband, it was just quit smoking and lose weight, and then it really progressed so much to the point where she was writing books on the convoluted universe. So yeah, and it was just fascinating what came through her sessions. And then she started teaching, and I was fortunate enough to, my partner said to me back in 2015, early 2015, he said, "There's this woman I really want you to see this video of, and I think you're going to resonate with her." And boy, did I ever. And she was discussing QHHT, and she has thousands of videos out there on lots of different topics. And she just happened to be talking about this work that would be my work that I would do. So, and I knew it from the moment she started talking. I said to him, "This is my work. I know it." And in my knowing, it was the truth. And I was off and running, and within 6 months we drove to Arkansas and I took the training. And yeah, so it's been just an amazing journey. And Yeah. So in QHHT, what Dolores started having happen is that her clients were going into a somnambulist state, which is where they completely forget, and they would tune into this part of themselves, which she termed the subconscious. I don't use that term because it doesn't mean the same thing as what Jung would speak to the subconscious. Um, so what she meant was the higher self. I refer to it as the higher self, and that's the part of us that is all knowing. It's that part of us that has the answers to all the questions, and we can tune into other frequencies and dimensions and lives and parallel lives, and and to our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters. And I mean, it's so fascinating. It's really limitless what we can tune into. In a way, I feel like it's that the other 90% of the brain that they say we're not using, and so it's allowing us to tune into that part of ourselves. And what's really amazing also is that anything can be healed with this work. So it's just been amazing for me to watch people heal and transform before my eyes. They walk into my office and they're not the same person when they leave. I mean, really, they're their true self, like all this kind of, whatever you want to call it, noise is kind of shed away, and you just see this light within them shining, and it's just really fabulous.
So,
So
can you give me an idea of what kinds of things get healed? Are we talking about some physical things? Are we talking about emotional things?
and
Oh,
all of it.
yeah, some of it. Some people talk about, the core wounds that we all have at birth or when we're little or whatever. Then you have maybe wounds that you carry forward from a previous lifetime. Are we talking about all of it?
All of it. All of it, and any of it. And oftentimes what we find is that a physical illness or dis-ease was actually carried over from another life, and it wasn't healed then, and it was so traumatic that they carried it over. And once we find out where it came from, we just ask for that lifetime to be healed and that they don't need it any longer.
Okay, interesting. So have you seen like spontaneous healings then?
I've had numerous clients have physical healing that was just amazing. And I have had clients who've healed stage 4 cancer, stage 3 cancer. They've healed, uh, you know, lifetime back pain. They've healed. I mean, Dolores actually had a woman who regrew cartilage in her knees during a session, and it showed up in her X-rays.
That's huge.
That's huge.
How does that happen? How many times have
And
you
it's
heard somebody
magic.
say, I have bone on bone?
Yeah. And and really it's all about the way QHHT works is that when we can get to the root cause of why it showed up, oftentimes it's a message from our higher self saying, "Hey, we wanted to get your attention, and we knew the only way to do that was to give you some severe pain or trauma or, something." Dolores even said that there's no such thing as an accident. She would say, like, and she saw probably 10,000 clients. And she said that, and I totally, I'm on board with her, but I'll just go by, what she said. She said that every accident is a message, and it's trying to get our attention, or it's trying to reroute us. into a new timeline or a new direction. And so it's all for us. It's all on purpose. And when people can understand that, then there's no more victim space of this is happening to me and oh, woe is me. This is not helpful. Um, Tana, who is actually on today, she gave me a beautiful testimonial of her session, and she would actually like to share it if that's all right with everyone.
Well, it's certainly okay with me if it's okay with Kana.
Teresa, would you care to share that for me?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Yeah, while hang on, I gotta admit somebody here. Okay. So while Monica was speaking, Kana put in the notes. Kana, I don't know when, but did do a session with Monica, and she says that she had calcification tendonitis cured, as well as her fear of flying was eliminated during the session. And then, sorry, one more here. Hang on. And then she was given a gift of a acupuncture spot on the sternum, CV17, which is called the Sea of Tranquility, which works beautifully. So, and Jerry, yeah, Jerry's
Hi.
saying other people grow cartilage in their knees, and it's amazing.
I'm just recording what she says. I just wanted to have a little. I put in notes for myself, and maybe for others.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Okay, good. Anyway, yeah. So it's nice to have somebody on the call who's already been to Monica and has a beautiful testimonial.
And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer and communicate. But I'm going to hide myself again.
Thank you so much, Kana, for sharing that and for allowing us to bring that forward to share with everyone.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. It was magical. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and the neat thing about Kana's story, if it's okay if I share a little bit, Kana.
Absolutely.
So the neat thing about Kana's story is that she didn't fully, like, she wasn't 100% on board that she had healed it. So she kept taking the tart cherry, for the pain, and then she ran out on a trip, and she found that she didn't need it. And then a year later, she still didn't need it. So, yeah.
I had been taking that. I had had that problem for 8 years. So it wasn't like it was a sudden, automatic healing, just randomly. It had been there forever. And the tart cherry juice managed that for a few years. And every time I would run out, the pain would come back. And so I would, keep taking it. I was always very nervous when I would run out, and they quit making the brand that I took while I was on my vacation. And when I got back, I couldn't find it. And I was pretty terrified. And like Monica said, the pain just never came back after 8 years. And I had an x-ray done, which is how it was diagnosed. And I would be very interested to see what that x-ray looks like now. But I'm not going to go get one.
Right.
Right, because you don't need it.
I don't need it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I'm out.
Yeah, and so I love bringing that experience up, because oftentimes, when we're doing the healing, or when I call it they, because it's really more of a collective energy. It's the all that, it's like they will bring anyone in who, any kind of, we don't even know, we'll call it a spirit or an entity, to help with the healing. And I will ask for whatever we need in the session, and they'll just show up. And it's fascinating because there is a tremendous amount of healing that goes on under the surface, that we're not even aware of during the session. And clients will come back to me after a year or, 6 months and say, we talked about this before the hypnosis and it got taken care of too.
Uh, and to be clear, Monica, this came up another time in one of our IONS meetings. But to be clear, the guide or the spirit who came up was part of the person who's under hypnosis. It was theirs, not yours. You're facilitating, but the guide that came in and helped the person was from their circle.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I'm not the healer here. Like, that's not what's going on here. And that was the thing I loved most about QHHT, is that the person is healing themselves. So really, this came up in a session recently where the client had this recognition. She just had this within the session. She had this awakening. I am my higher self.
Perfect.
Because it's not outside of us, and so that's why I loved that I wasn't the one healing them. They are healing themselves with the support of the all, and whatever entities come through for them, it's for them and it's through them. And yeah.
What we're doing is getting our meat body out of the way.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And trusting and knowing that it's possible. And, when people come in and they say something like, well, it's just old age, I just have to poo-poo it, because I'll say, then why do 100% of the people your age not have the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
You know?
I have to say, the other place where this came up, and I was pretty fascinated at the time, it was January of 2022. We had speakers come on, and it was because IONS had done a big study at the Institute on healing pain caused from your wrist pain, what they call that from typing and whatever. So anyway, they had a bunch of people come in as healers from different modalities, like Reiki, Bingston, whatever. And then they had 20 some people who had the pain in their wrist. So each person got 2 different healings from 2 different people. But also going on is in their little shielded room, they had a person who's a medium who sat there and took notes, and she had hundreds of pages of notes. She was in every healing. And one of the things that came up when she was our speaker is that during every single healing, an entity, a guide, a spirit, or like that, entered this, lead shielded room, right? Where there's the 3 of them already, and helped effect the healing. And then during this process, there was at least one person who had a big tumor on his neck when he got there, besides it was, wrist being painful, and it spontaneously healed. Anyway, the whole thing was fascinating, but what I did not see coming is that there were guides that came in to help the Heelys, and they were the Heelys guides. They weren't the mediums guides. Okay, I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, and that's how it works with QHHT. It's not, and I'm not directing it, really. And that's different too. Many forms of hypnosis, the facilitator is actually guiding the person to what's going to show up for them and that type of thing. In a QHHT session, I'm asking their higher self to bring to them exactly what they need. And so we have no idea what that will be and how it will show up. And
so it's like you're the person who's helping them set an intention.
Yes. Yeah, so I have a person show up with questions. I ask them to write up 10 questions, and and the questions are really valuable because the it's a way for us to get the dialogue going, or get the conversation of the higher self going. At the same time, the higher self will make sure that the person receives what they need, whether they ask about it or not.
Yeah, and you can trust your higher self to maybe prioritize what you need at this moment in time.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then, and for some people, it's mental emotional issues. I've had such amazing healing with people who've had anxiety, lifelong anxiety, um, or depression, or, just just mental emotional issues. And like I said before, the healing takes place because we find out where it came from, where it originated, and why it showed up. And most often, they've already learned what they were meant to learn from it, so they don't need the symptom anymore.
Got it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that symptom anymore. Go away.
It was just a messenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
Have you ever found that somebody under hypnosis got more than they could handle?
Uh no. There's a protection that is done during the hypnosis, and the intention really of QHHT is that they don't receive anything that isn't for them. And so it's already in the process. And it might feel in the moment like more than they can handle because they're just not used to the new way of being. Like, oh, my lights got turned on. What's this? I
Okay.
don't know about this. It's kind of like a Kundalini awakening moment, like for someone. Not everyone has that experience. In fact, I wouldn't say that that's the norm, but like a Kundalini awakening, in the moment, it may feel like a lot, and yet it's for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good.
then, yeah, you kind of put on a new pair of glasses and go, I don't know, disorientation, but I make sure that the person's fine before they go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question now. Do you help people to understand why certain people were brought into their lives?
Yes. Yeah, if that's a real issue for someone, and particularly, um, you know, why they chose the family of origin that they chose, that's a big one.
Okay.
Why did they choose their parents?
Hmm.
Because some people have really very, very challenging experiences in childhood. That comes up a lot, whether it's abuse or, whatever, what have you. And what we find is that they know why they chose it, and why it or what they were meant to learn from it. And once again, it's all for them. And if they learned exactly what they needed to learn, which is almost always a yes, even if they haven't learned it yet, but they're in the process, and they're just having this understanding of what they did come to learn, they got the message, and they don't need the trauma anymore.
Okay, so then that brings another question. When they learn their lesson,
Hmm.
does it also change the dynamics of all the people around them too?
Yes, it does. Because you can't help. I mean, when we change our vibrational frequency, we affect the vibrational frequency of everyone around us. It's just a given. It's just how energy works. And so, yes, people start to shift. And we also find that some people come in to shift the lineage. So they do ancestral healing or healing for their lineage. And in that, that's a game changer for the whole entire family.
Yes. I had not thought about that, but yeah, that's fascinating too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really essentially you're sort of just changing the timeline because what we've come to recognize in, quantum physics and that time is an illusion. And so it's all happening now. So in that moment of us shifting the lineage, everyone else is shifting as well.
Wow, that's big.
Such powerful work. I mean, and everyone is capable of it.
All those people that say I can't be hypnotized.
Oh, I kind of chuckle inside because every single human being within 60 seconds of turning a television on is hypnotized. So sorry, you've already been hypnotized a lot. Even if you haven't watched a television, if you've driven for, a long distance, it's all it really truly is you moving into a different wavelength, a different state of consciousness. So it's really not, we turn it into this really hard thing, and it's very easy.
So tell me, how long does a session with you last?
Generally 5 to 6 hours, as short as 4 occasionally, but as long as I've had one last 10 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is not a dip your toe in kind of experience.
Yeah.
This is I'm all in and I'm ready, and
Uh-huh.
I always trust in divine timing for people's sessions, because if you don't feel like you're ready or you're receptive to the shifts that are going to take place, then you might as well just, wait until the moment when it's really clear and ask for guidance about when it's clear and when the time is right.
I just find this fascinating. I
It
love
is
the
so
idea of
fascinating.
it. I love the idea of, well, okay, I'll go spend 6 hours with Monica and my problems will disappear.
Really, I mean, Dolores Cannon, she believed in one and done. Like you go to one session and then you have this awareness of your higher self, and you can then communicate with that part of yourself and heal anything, and you don't need to keep having sessions. Whereas, normal hypnosis, you come and you go for an hour and then you go the next week and you do an hour.
Yeah.
This, you do it all at once. And with that said, I do still see clients more than once occasionally, um, because we all need each other. We all need support. And sometimes having a facilitator assist, you can just really let go and just, yeah.
Um, so Monica, do we want to see if anybody else has any questions? Do you mind? And were you going to do a meditation with us, or maybe it was a light hypnosis or something? Or
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to do that. And I think probably let's do the hypnosis first, and then is that all right? And then the
yeah, and we'll
questions?
open it up. Okay,
Yeah, great.
sounds really good.
So if everyone could please mute yourselves, just so we have little distraction, no distractions, and get into a comfortable position. So whether that's sitting or lying down, whatever feels comfortable for you. And I did not create this particular mini regression. It's actually Dolores Cannon created it, and I may have adapted it just slightly. But so Dolores herself did this, and it can be amazing just what shows up. So one thing I do want to say, and a lot of you probably already are aware of this, I do want to say that trust what's showing up in the way that it's showing up for you. For some people, it's visual. For some people, it's not. So don't feel like it's not working if you don't have a visual. Like if you're not seeing, some people think that, oh, if I'm not seeing it, then it's not really happening, but that's just not how it works. You might hear things, you might smell things, taste things, you might, it can be anything. You might even have it just as a knowing, like similar to in a dream state where someone is in your dream, you don't see them or hear them, but you know they're there. So trust all of it and just don't be afraid to use your imagination, because your imagination actually lives in the same part of your brain that the higher self comes through. So don't be afraid to let your imagination just go. And really, it's a way to connect with your higher self. So I highly encourage it. And don't worry if you think it is your imagination that's coming through. And you may want something to write write a little note afterward. If something really profound comes through, it could, or even if it's just something fun. So don't take it too seriously, because really this is really just kind of me showing you what can happen in a session. And feel free to go back and watch this again and go through it again and see if you get something different too. But like I said, everyone can do it. It's just a matter of just letting whatever comes, the very first thing that comes to mind, just go with it and follow it and play with it. So, all right. So we're going to take you to meet your spirit guide or your ally or your guardian angel, what wants to show. You can really call it anything. What we've found is that we just like to have names for them. They don't really need them. And whether you see, you know, a male or a female, or it's androgynous, it's whatever will show up for you. So try not to have any expectations about what you think is going to come through for you. They come in when you're born and they're assigned to you, and they go through your whole life with you, some of them. And so you're never alone. And everyone has them, and everyone has at least one their entire life. And they're even there when we transition. So, and then sometimes even beyond transition. So it's their job to be with us, and we all have them. We don't always know that they're there, but they like us to know that they're there to protect us and guide us and assist us. So they can't interfere. So what's great about, getting in touch with them is that you can ask for their guidance and their help, and they like that and they need it. So, and sometimes when things get complicated, you might have another guide show up. So that's where it's maybe fun to do this exercise again and find that another guide might show up when you need them. So today we're going to connect with the guide that's with you at this time, the most important guide that's with you right at this time in your life. And you might see them and talk to them and just be with them and see what you feel. Even if you feel emotion, be aware of that also. So in this exercise, we're going to see what they look like, what they feel like, how they want you to see them, or feel them or know them, how they want to appear for you. Some of you may even know your guides already. We'll just see what shows up today. Sometimes they even show up in kind of odd, strange ways. Some of them have a sense of humor. So just really, like I said, go with it, whatever shows up. They'll just appear exactly how they're supposed to. And you might ask for their name if that's important, or just ask any question that you have and see what comes. So close your eyes and just take some deep breaths. And with every exhale, just feel yourself releasing any tension, releasing any cares or concerns of the day. And now see yourself standing at the foot of a very large hill. You see this hill in front of you. You're aware of it. Going up the hill is a winding path. The path twists and turns, winding around trees and bushes as it goes to the top of the hill. I would like for you to walk up this path. As you walk up the path, look at the vegetation and the trees, if there are any. What are you aware of as you look around you? And as you move around the vegetation, the trail twists and turns, going up to the top of the hill. Walk up the path until you reach the top of the hill. Now you have reached the top of the hill. You are standing inside a small grove of trees. Step out of the grove of trees, and there is a clearing in front of you. Step into the clearing. On the other side of the clearing, you see another small grove of trees. Your guide is standing, waiting inside that grove of trees. As you watch, they come out of the grove of trees and walk into the clearing. What are you aware of as your guide shows you themselves? How do they appear to you? How do they want you to see them? See your guide in as much detail as you can, and be aware of everything that you are aware of as you're there with your guide. Now ask them what their name is. What do they want you to call them when you need them? If it's a difficult name, ask them to spell it. How do they want to be called? Now your guide is walking toward you, and they have a box in their hand. A box. They give you the box. What does the box look like? What does it feel like when they hand it to you? Open the box and see what's inside the box. What's inside when you open the box? Ask your guide what it means, the object in the box. What does it mean? What's the significance of what's inside the box? Now your guide has a message for you, something they want to tell you. You can hear them now. They have a message, something they want to tell you. Listen to what they have to say. Now your guide is turning around and they are walking back across the clearing. Thank them for the gift and thank them for the message. And thank them for being in your life. Your guide is walking back across the clearing and disappearing into the grove of trees. Now you turn around and go back into the grove of trees on the side that you were originally on. You can start your descent back down the winding path, back down into this room, into the room that you're in. You can come back down faster than you went up. I will count to 5, and on the count of 5, you will be back in this room and back in your body, remembering the 4 things. What did your guide look like? What was their name? What was in the box? And what was the message? You will be able to remember those 4 things so you can write them down. On the count of 5, you will be back down the path in the room that you're in and back in the body, remembering those 4 things. 1, 2, you're breathing faster. The blood's circulating faster because you are returning to your normal consciousness and you're waking up now. You are back here and very much aware of your physical body. 3, 4, you are aware of the sounds in the room and the people sitting near you or the people around, anywhere around you, or you're just aware of your surroundings in the room that you're in. You're back in the room that you began in, wide awake, wide awake. 5, you're wide awake, remembering those 4 things that you saw so you can write them down. And go ahead and just start writing down whatever it is that came to you. And just take a moment now and write down what came through.
Once everybody's had a chance to write their stuff down, if anybody wants to share, it's okay. And if you don't want it, that's okay too. I know for myself, I'm going to come back to this hypnosis when I'm not running the meeting and do it again. Because
Great.
I'll be more able to get a little
To be
deeper.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great that it's recorded, so you can go back anytime.
Well, and everybody will be able to because it'll be posted on YouTube. And
Yeah,
I'll send out a link to everybody when I get that up.
great.
Yeah. I'm going to put everybody on the general view, gallery view here. Is there anybody who wants to share their 5 things or a couple of things? Wendy Northcup raised her hand, and Norma, we saw you too. So Wendy, you can go first.
Oh, okay. So what came up for me was I saw my guide and he was very he almost looked like Jesus. He had like this kind of caftan thing looking thing on, and I know he had like a very pronounced brow and like reddish brown hair and he had a beard. And I already knew who that guide was from talking to one of my psychic friends that his name is Christoph. And the message what was in the box for me was it was incense and I think it was like scrolls of maybe Akashic records or something. And then the message I asked him, I didn't get like a verbal response, but I got like a feeling got transmitted to me, like everything's going to be okay. So that's what I got out of that.
Great. Yeah, and oftentimes their communication is really more telepathic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't actually hear, but yeah, so that's great. That's really cool.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Norman, I saw you raise your hand. Did you want to say something, and then we'll go to Janine?
Well, on the way up, I found myself in a combination of 2 paths that I have used to kind of assess my my heart and my heartbeat and my breathing. It's for an exercise. They're slightly aerobic. And I saw those two, and then I wanted to give them away and have them be someplace I haven't been, but they have grasses and trees and things, and those were the ones I was seeing. And then the spirit was me. And it's me. And it couldn't be outside. And it didn't really have, I didn't name it Norma, and it didn't name itself Norma, but and the name is supposed to be able to change, because it is now, it is now, and it is me. That was the message it was giving me. This is you. This is now. I am you now. And then I was saying to it, and it was saying that to me. And then the message was, you are responsible for you now.
Oh.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that's powerful, Norma.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Very nice.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Janine?
Wow, that was really, really beautiful. And I am going to do it again because I'm a little drifty, and I think I might have drifted off. And also, I wasn't sure when we were going to start. We were getting information about that, and I wasn't sure, so I was like, am I supposed to be doing it now? But I was just like, anyway. And when we started, it was really lovely and surprising to me that the guy that appeared for me looked a little bit like Gandalf. He was tall, and he had the kind of he had sort of canvas and olive colored gown and long hair, kind of silvery. I don't have a real strong sense of his face. And the name was Friend. And I was wanting to add something to it, like guide friend, and I was like, no, it's Friend. And that's nice. And the gift was this it was a thin box, and when I opened it, there was like aqua colored silk, and there was beautiful like a sparkly thing for my hair or things like that, beautiful stones, or yeah, it was kind of fun. And I'm not sure I got all the questions, and I'll get them on when I do it again. But the word beauty was important, and which is interesting. There's somebody I know who says that the fabric of everything is beauty, and then that brings us to love. I always thought, I'm not sure about that. I kind of thought it was the other way, but anyway, it was a lovely experience, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm hoping that we are going to find out how to contact Monica, because I am ready for a session. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing. That was wonderful.
Thanks, Janine. And of course, we'll be sharing all of Monica's information before we sign off here. Is there anybody else, and does anybody have any questions at this point? I think somebody wanted to know if somebody does the hypnosis in Spanish.
So I don't personally do the QHHT in Spanish. However, there are practitioners who do sessions in Spanish. In fact, I know of one in Portland. So this person can contact me to get in touch with. I can get you the information for this other practitioner who does sessions in Spanish. If
And
you're in
Daniel
Portland.
wants, okay,
Yeah.
thanks. And Janine, can you take your hand down now? And Daniel, it's okay. Daniel, go ahead.
I am wondering if these sessions can be at a distance or if they need to be in person only.
Oh, thanks for asking that, Daniel. So no, they are in person. QHHT is meant to be done only in person. You will occasionally find someone out there who does it online, but for Dolores Cannon, only sessions can only be done in person, and I only do sessions in person, and those are kind of the rules of QHHT. So yeah.
Monica, tell us where you do these. I've heard it's a pretty cool place.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So I live in the woods in White Salmon, Washington, which is about an hour out of Portland. So yeah, it's probably an hour and a half from, many parts of Portland. And so yeah, it's just across from Hood River, Oregon. And I live kind of over the river and through the woods. And I live in a log cabin, and I work out of the cabin, and it's next to a creek, and it's just really peaceful and quiet and just serene, and it's perfect for sessions.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful, in fact.
And anyone who can tune into fairies would definitely tune into fairies here. Yeah. And Sasquatch and what have you. Yeah.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
Very cool. What else? Anybody else have any questions? Thank you for doing that lovely hypnosis, Monica. It was just fantastic.
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure. It's always so fun to see where people go. And, just to let you know, that's really a light form of hypnosis. We go much deeper in a normal session.
Yeah, I assumed as much. Did I cut
Yeah.
somebody off? Did somebody have a question?
McGraw. There's Candace, a study with Dolores Cannon, and I think her name is Candace McGraw. I forgot what her last name was, and she has there's two people. They are sisters, and they do quantum. They do beyond quantum hypnosis, surrogate sessions, and so they do them remotely. And I forgot what her she's a hyphenated name, McGraw. I'll have to look that up but anyway, I've gotten sessions with them, and it's been amazing. They've been amazing sessions. Need to find. I've been trying to write it out. The last name.
Great.
And anyway, there's a link there with quantumhealers.com, surrogate QH sessions with Donna and Diana, and I've gotten sessions with them, and they've been excellent and wonderful and amazing and very interesting.
Good. Daniel, you have a question or comment?
Yes, another question. QHHT is the T is for technique, and as Teresa was saying the words of that, I was expecting therapy for the T. and that may be a minor difference, or maybe that was an intentional choice of one word, of technique versus therapy. Can you speak to that?
Certainly. At one point, I do believe therapy was in the name, and it was intentionally chosen to change to technique, because it's not a therapy. Because in therapy, it's not you doing most of it. Really, in these sessions, like even prior to the hypnosis, we sit down and just listen. So it's not really a therapy because I'm not acting as a therapist. I'm acting just as a facilitator to guide them into the state of hypnosis where they can be in direct access with their higher self and receive their own healing and answers. So that's how it's different and not a therapy.
Does that answer your question, Dan? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Wendy.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I understood this. Were you saying that during every quantum healing technique that your spirit guides show up for you to help you? And what, besides writing down the questions, is there anything else I need to prepare for? Like, should I pray and ask my spirit guides to be there, or any of that sort of thing before we get started in a session?
So when you book a session, whether it's with me or someone else, they'll send you out. Like what I do is I have someone sign up for a session and they receive an email on how to prepare.
Okay.
So at that point, once you've committed, then and you can also find it on my website. There are how to prepare for your session.
Okay.
And whatever feels right for you, it's ultimately about tuning in and
Okay.
listening to your own guidance. So if you feel like prayer would be a really powerful way to connect, go for it. That's great.
And then what did you have to say about, like, our guides just expecting us to show up and they're automatically there for us, or?
So the way I perceive it is like when someone comes and they say, "Oh, I'm feeling a lot, being here," and what my sense is that that's their spirit team, so excited that they're there and listening. Right?
Okay.
Sometimes we confuse it with being nervous, but really it's our guides are so excited. Our whole spirit team is just there going, yes, they're going to listen, and they're finally showing up.
Okay. All
Does
right.
that help?
Thank you. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Monica, what is your website? And we'll put it in the chat box.
All right. It is Monica Dunn, QHHT. Do you want me to put it in, or will you put it in there?
I'm typing it.
Oh,
But we'll
great.
have
Okay.
the HTTP, and so somebody can't. Okay, Monica Dunn, QHHT.
.com.
Okay. If somebody else wants to find that and put the link in, that's okay too. Into the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have any last bits of comments? If not, I might say what I got when we did the meditation.
Great.
So, which I think is humorous. So when you first said to see your guide, my guide looked like a big doughboy, like, big floppy, big, like a balloony boy thing.
Yeah. Wow. That's
And then
fun.
he came hopping into my little area, and then out of it sprouted this like tall, thin woman who I called mom. My mom was not tall. Anyway, so then I opened up my little box, like you said,
Mhm.
and this big tall tree sprouted out of it.
Great.
It's the tree of life. Oh yeah, my imagination was quite active. Anyway, so I kept waiting for my message. Pretty soon the message was, relax, things are gonna work out.
Uh-huh.
That's all I got.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Teresa. And I'm so glad you said my imagination was so active. So, one thing to remember in a QHHT session or any kind of hypnosis, our conscious mind often just wants us to believe that we're making it all up and that it couldn't possibly be real or that really happened for you. And that tree, I'm sure, has so many messages for you. And I would really spend some time asking what that meant for you because there's so much more to it than we give it credit for. And of course, this was just a light, playful thing, but really it is sacred, that space that we move into. So it's best to honor it and, and give it the respect that it deserves. And like I said before, your higher self comes through the same place as your imagination. It's not really different.
Right, right.
Yeah. Hmm.
It was just kind of funny the way it showed up initially as the big bouncy doughy thing. Balloony.
Yeah.
It was more of a balloony sort of a, like you might see it like in the big parade on, New Year's Day on the TV or something.
And the message was to relax,
Have fun, I
right?
guess.
Yeah. Right. It was a playful, fun kind of like
Yeah.
not the stoic man with the beard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Neat. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure. Okay.
Are there
Well,
any
if
other-
we don't have any other questions, did you have anything else you want to share with us, Monica?
Uh, just be gentle with yourself and yeah, be loving and gentle and kind with yourself.
Do you
Just
know how hard that is to do?
make it a mission.
I'm only kidding.
It can be.
It's a good message.
Yeah.
Monica, I already looked at your website. Do your sessions always start at 11 a.m.? Is that okay to ask that?
Oh, they do. But I'm willing to work with people who need to start at a different time. I mean, we can work around different schedules
Okay.
if need be.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, that was lovely.
Thank you everyone for participating.
No, thank you. It was fascinating. And like, once again, for anybody seeing this later, if you want to find Monica, first of all, if you just simply Google Monica Dunn, it should come up. But her actual website is monicadunqhht.com.
That's
And
right.
with that, thank you so much, everybody, for being here, supporting us, and we'll see you in next month. By the way, next month we'll have Jane DeForest, who's going to speak, and she's going to talk about how to navigate these chaotic times we find ourselves in. So I think it's going to be very good, very appropriate too. Okay, thank you again, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right.